Hi again, church. Jacob Mills in a onesie. Hi, Mom. Again, and glad to see you're joining me for the third installment where we explore the wheel illustration. Today we're going to break down the top spoke, which is prayer. Now, before I get into that, remember to subscribe to the NACC YouTube for more daily devotionals and get linked into our daily text reminder. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So, like the last part, as the wheel illustration, there's reasoning to to why prayer is at top and why it's on the vertical spoke. So similarly to the word, prayer is part of communication directly with God. Therefore, it is placed in the vertical manner to represent how we are connecting to our Father in heaven. What is prayer? The initial idea is when someone closes their eyes, bows their head, and then talks to some invisible dude in the clouds. It's kind of the gist. It's what usually people think about it. However, kind of just like the word, it's not that simple. The more complete answer is that prayer is our response to what we read in the Word and our communication with what we experience in the Word, in the world daily. It's sharing our feelings with an entity, or God, that seeks companionship and wishes to hear our concerns. Think of it like any other relationship with your friends and family. If you never talked with them again, or at least infrequently, you would say they probably wouldn't still be your friend, or they'd be very far off, right? No, obviously a relationship encompasses conversations between parties, right? So the word is God talking to us, and prayer is us talking back to God. Now, if you look with me in Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, I'm going to try and recite this. Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. So we're instructed that in everything, pray to God, and through God's understandings, He will keep you connected. Now, while God can read your mind, and sometimes He does aid us in ways that we aren't thinking of at the moment, it's always best to reach out to God with our concerns. It's always best to be talking with Him, and He will take care of us. Now, this isn't to say that God will answer every prayer when we want Him to, but we cannot, and that's because we can't fully understand God's reasoning. He's obviously up there, we're down here. He's got Gestalt principles. I just got this first-person view, and looking back at myself in a onesie and a camera. So we don't fully understand it. But I can promise that in the end, if you are talking with God and you are a believer, that God will take care of those who He loves. Now, again, if we look in John chapter 15, verse 7, it says, "If ye abide in me, and my words abide in ye, you shall ask what ye shall, and it shall be done unto you." Jesus tells us directly that if we abide, which means to remain or keep Christ in the center, in Him, then He will take care of us. And the main point is that if we are abiding in Him, meaning our requests are centered in the thoughts of God's plan, that we are part of God's plan, and that our thought process is looking to further that plan, right? Now, I want to focus on prayer structure for a second. Now, let me preface this with saying that this isn't the only concrete way to pray. This is just a method that I've found extremely useful in my own prayer life. However, if you are a new believer or simply want to get more out of your own prayer time, then this method can work well. Now, it is called the ACTS method, and I'll show it to you here. ACTS, like the little acronym there. So we're going to begin with the top one, which is adoration. Now, this can just be broken up as you're giving praise or worship to God, all right? Next, after that comes confession, the C. And this is admitting sin and asking for forgiveness. After that comes T, or thanksgiving. This is giving thanks to God for His works. This is different from adoration, and adoration is praising God, the character, and thanksgiving is thanking God for what He's personally done in your life. And lastly, we have S, or supplication. Many of you probably haven't heard this word used in this way. And this is simply broken down as making requests to God, or just asking for things. So obviously, I'm just giving you a quick summary of this model, right? And I could make a 5 for faith on probably each of these different aspects, and maybe I will do that down the line, maybe no. But the gist is that by using this model, it covers all the bases in terms of a prayer time with God, that you're coming to Him in humility and asking for things. So as we discussed, prayer is just conversing with God about the things that you need, that you read in the Word, along with anything else going on in your life. And I would challenge you that if you aren't talking with God often, that you begin now. This doesn't mean that you need to pray in extremely regimented times, like every hour or 15 minutes, that type of thing. But rather, at least start with something simple, maybe once a day, maybe when you wake up or right when you go to bed, or maybe both, something like that. It just takes a minute or two to sharing your thoughts with God, and we all know He likes to hear that, just like if you share your thoughts with anyone. So again, as you take that, I hope that you all have a splendid day, church, and I'll see you for the next installment as we go into fellowship. Have a good one.